Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Johnny B here with devslopes.com, and in this video we are going to get our food truck detail activity all set up. Alright, so right now we have it to where we are able to view our list of food trucks and click on one of them and we see a pretty map. The map is not showing us anything close to what we need unless it is a food truck in Sydney, Australia, but that's just the template and we're going to work with that. All right, so let's get started. And so the first thing I want to do is get our food truck ready to be passed as an object from our recycler view activity to our new detail activity. And so what we need to do for that to happen is do a couple of things over here in our food truck lists activity. And how it works is down here, when we create our intent, what we're able to do is we're able to pass in what are called extras. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to say something like intent dot put extra, and we can pass in a Boolean value, a character value, a double, float, etc. But if you scroll through here, you're not going to see a food truck value. All right, so what we have to do is we have to actually make it a parcel. All right, so you'll see here we can put a parcel, and so that's what we're gonna do. But well, we're not gonna do it quite yet because our food truck class is not ready to be passed as a parcel. We need to do some work on it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's come down here to our model, open up our food truck, and get started. First thing we got to do is right here on our class, we got to implement parcelable. Okay, and it's going to tell us that we need a bunch of methods, so we're going to go ahead and do that. We got describe contents and a few others. So right here at the very bottom, I'm just going to make a comment and say make parcel. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to say private, and we're going to say food truck. We're going to say parcel, and we're going to say in. Okay, so this is what is going into the parcel. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take all of our ID, name, food type, everything, and we are going to just put it into this parcel basically. So we're going to say ID is equal to in dot read string, and that's it. Then we're going to do that for each of them, and let's see, we got them right here, so I'm just going to go off right here. So name is equal to in dot read string, food type is equal to in dot read string, and then we have average cost, which is equal to in dot, and this is a read double because those are doubles. Same thing for latitude is equal to in dot read double, and longitude is equal to in dot read double. All right, so now we got our parcel in. What do you think we need next? Well, we need something to kind of write those parcels. So we're going to say the function, the method we want is called write to parcel. So we're going to click that, and we're going to say parcel dot write string ID. Then we're going to say parcel dot write string name. We're going to say parcel dot write string food type. I'm going to say parcel dot write double for average cost, and parcel dot write double for latitude, as well as parcel dot write double for longitude. And so if you're familiar with iOS development, this is similar to encoding and decoding for custom classes. Okay, we have put into our parcel, and then we are writing those parcel properties. Okay, and then we need a describe contents And for our class here, return 0 is fine. This is if you need to return a bit mask for special cases, which we don't need, so we're just going to say return 0. All right, so now we need to build our constructor, as it were. We're going to say public static final. We're going to say parcelable, kind of a weird word, and then we're going to say creator. And what we are creating is a food truck. We're going to say creator is equal to new parcelable dot creator and food truck. And then we are going to say public food truck create from parcel, and that is parcel in, and we are going to return a new food truck in. Okay. And then we are going to say public food truck new array, or new array, and that is going to be int size, and return new food truck and pass in size. And then a semicolon here to finish it off. And if you don't understand everything right here, that's okay. Just know that this is what you need to do to make sure that your custom classes are able to be passed as objects from one activity or fragment to another. Okay, so basically you just need to know how to implement it with our parcel in, and you do in.readString or double, whichever whatever type your property is. Then you have the right to parcel. Describe contents. If you're not using any returning any bit mask, just return 0, and then this function to create it. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna save that, and then we'll come over here to our food trucks list activity, and here in the food truck detail activity, let's make sure that's spelled right. Food truck detail activity. Then we'll need to change that in our food truck adapter. Load food truck detail activity. Okay, that's just fixing a typo. All right, so back to our food truck list activity. Now we're ready to get our food truck list activity ready to pass one food truck object from this activity to our detail activity. So what do we need to do? We need to do a little bit of preparation. So what we're going to do is we are going to create a variable up here, and that is going to be called public static final, and it's going to be a string called extra item truck, and that is going to be called truck. And so this is just creating a reference to the object that we are going to be passing around. Okay. So then down here at the bottom, all we got to do is pass it. So we got to say intent dot put extra, and remember we want the parcelable. So I'm going to say put extra, and we are going to say food truck list activity dot extra item truck, and what we are passing is a truck. So right here, load food truck detail activity, we are now going to be passing in a food truck, and we are calling it truck. So remember, this function is called from our food truck adapter, and we got an error here, oh, semicolon. So this function is being called from our adapter, and we are going to pass into this function a truck, and the truck that we are passing in is this truck, which is, let's see here, this truck at get position. So in other words, whichever truck we tap on in our recycler view is the truck that is going to get passed into this function, which is load food truck detail activity, which will then put that truck as an extra into our intent, which is going to be passed then to our food truck detail activity. So now it's been passed over this way. So now we just need to retrieve it. Okay, so we're going to do that here in our food truck detail activity. And that's really easy. All we got to do is say we're going to create a variable for our food truck, private food truck, and we're going to call it food truck. And then down here in our on create, all we got to do is say food truck is equal to get intent dot get parcelable, and then we're going to say food truck list activity dot extra item truck, and that just tells us which parcelable item to grab and to stick into this food truck. And now to test that it's working, we're just going to create a print statement, and we're going to say food truck dot get name. Okay, so this will let us know that whichever of the food trucks that we click on in our recycler view is actually getting passed into this detail activity. So we're going to rerun it. And if we didn't forget anything, so I'm going to click on Taco Nirvana. And hey, there we go. Did you see it? System out, Taco Nirvana. If we go back and click on a second one, Joe's Barbecue, we should get a printout of Joe's Barbecue. So that is definitely working. We have successfully passed our food truck object from our list activity to our detail activity. So that is pretty cool. So I'm going to save it, and let's get our UI up and running. So how do we want this to look? We don't want the map to be taking up the entire space as it is. I'm thinking maybe about 2/3 of it or so. And then up here we're going to have the name of the food truck, average cost, and food type. And then we're going to have a few buttons. One's going to say reviews, where you can view the reviews. We're going to have an add review button and then a modify button. And then in the lower 2/3, we're going to have the map. Okay, so right now the map fragment is taking up the entire space. So I'm going to actually create a new layout resource. So I'm going to say layout resource file, and we're going to make it a root element of type constraint layout. And the file name, let's make this one shorter, shall we? So we're just going to call this detail view. All right, then I'm going to press OK. All right, that looks good. So now our detail view is going to include the map fragment. All right, so we're going to say, we're going to come over here into our text view, and let's just right off the bat say include, and we want Android, we want layout, activity food truck detail. Okay, we're going to close that off. And let's see what that looks like here in our design. Yeah, I know, we're gonna have some rendering problems. That's okay. Okay, so now let's, so we have our map fragment added here. So let's go ahead and see if we can see it here. So I'm gonna select it, and let's say layout width, maybe just to see if we can see it, 100 by 100. All right, so there's our map fragment. I'm just gonna put it down here at the bottom for now. And we're gone. 100 again by 100. All right, stay. Okay, so here we are with our detail view, and like we were talking about, we're going to throw in some text views and to display our name, our average cost, and our food type. All right, so just like we did in our card view, I think we're going to say food truck, and then we're going to make that one a little bit bigger, as we're going to say 18, and let's say copy paste, and we'll put it right there. Then we're going to need another one. Come on. And we're going to drop that right here, and this one is going to be for our food type. So I'm going to say food type, and copy paste, and move that right next to it. And our copy paste doesn't look like it worked. All right, so copy paste, there we go. And then let's zoom in here. And then let's go copy paste again and drag that down. This is going to be our average cost. Okay. And just like we did in our card, let's make this one green. Let's make these all a little bit bigger. Let's select all of you and say text size 16. There we go. All right, so food type. All right, so name of our food truck. Let's say Joe's Diner. Food type, breakfast, and we need an average cost. I'm going to copy paste and move you over. And for our text, I'm just going to say $9.99. All right, so these three are going to be the dynamic data, so they need IDs. So I'm going to say detail, truck, name. This one I'm going to call detail food type. And this one I'm going to say detail food cost. All right. And then let's put some constraints for our food truck. I'm going to say to the top, to the left for our food type, to the constraint to the bottom of food truck, constraint to the left. Let's see if we can zoom in any more here. For our average cost, constraint to the bottom of food type, average cost constraint to the left. And as you can see, for some reason, these are getting removed. So I'm going to reconstrain them. Reconstrain. Put that constraint back on. Constrain you to the bottom and constrain you to the bottom. And we'll give these margins, come on. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to constrain to the left or to the right. Constrain left to the right. And those are good for 8. That's fine. And then for the name, I think in addition to, whoopsie, go back to design. I'm going to select both of these and I'm going to make this bold. There we go. It's just so it pops a little bit. All right, that looks good. And then I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. And I think that's looking pretty good. Let's make our costs that green color that we were using before. So I'm going to come down here, text color, and choose color, and come down here to holo green. All right, that looks good. And now let's throw in our buttons that we're going to be needing. So I'm going to come down here, button 1, button 2, and button 3. All right, and I'm going to constrain this to the left. I'm going to constrain this one to the right. I'm going to constrain this to the bottom of average cost and give it a margin at the top of 16. And then I'm going to constrain these other two buttons to the bottoms of each other so that they are all lined up. I'm going to put this in the, try to put this in the middle. And then we can use something that is new with the latest version of constraint layout. And I need to have constraints here and here. And what we can do is we can select all three of these and right click and select center horizontally. And that will add a chain to those so that when we switch orientations, you can see that they're still centered like that. So that's pretty cool. All right, and then we are going to go ahead and do our map fragment. So I'm going to say constraint to the bottom of this button, to the bottom of the screen, to the left, come on, to the left and to the right. And then we are going to change the size type to be any size in the vertical and horizontal directions. And there we go. So that's coming together real nice. What do we want our button names to be called? This is going to be reviews. This one is going to be add review, and this one is going to be modify. All right, let's go ahead and save that, and let's run it again and see what that looks like. Let's see, where's my emulator? All right, right here. Gonna rerun. I'm gonna click, and that didn't work at all because we forgot to do a very crucial thing, which is to change which view that the activity is looking at. All right, so let's come back up to our food truck detail activity, and we do not want it looking at loading the activity food truck detail. We want it loading the detail view. Okay, I'm gonna save that, rerun it, click on our Taco Nirvana, and there we go. Looks like we got a little bit of constraint issues still. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm gonna come back down here to our detail view, and let's see what's wrong. Looks like our truck name lost its constraints. So constrain to the left and constrain to the bottom of the one next to it. And did we lose any other constraints? No, looks good. All right, rerun. All right, selecting it, and we lost some other constraints on our buttons. All right, the joys of constraint layout. Very helpful, sometimes can be a pain. All right, so let's go ahead and just re-add our constraints on our modify. So I'm gonna constrain it to the right, constrain it to the bottom of this one here. And our add review is still good. That one is still good. All right, save and rerun. I really do like the constraint layout system. This is my main complaint, is that sometimes the constraints just seem to disappear on us. Oh my gosh, we still got some of these going away. All right, let's fix this. All right, breakfast. You are constrained. Cost. You are constrained. All right. Let's go ahead and look in our blueprint view. All right, everything should be properly constrained. Saving, and let's see. Okay, finally everything looks good. All right, that's looking pretty nice. So now let's go ahead and write the code to update our information right here. So we have our food truck passed into our food truck detail activity. Now let's use that info, and then we're also going to work on our map, because right now we do not want it that zoomed out. We don't want it in Australia. And I'm just going to delete this comment. This is just information for the template. And let's go ahead and get started. So first up, let's go ahead and create references to our UI elements that we just created. So I'm going to say private. I'm going to say these are all going to be text views. And so this is going to be truck name, private text view, food type. Let's call this one private text view, and this can be called average cost. And then down here, let's tie those to our IDs that we created. So we're going to say truck name is equal to a text view, and we're going to find view by ID r.id dot, and that is going to be, I believe, called detail truck name. There we go. And then we got food type, and that is going to be a text view, and we are finding it view by ID r.id dot detail truck food truck type. And then we got average cost, which is equal to text view, and find view by ID r.id dot, and this was, what was this called? Detail food cost. All right, so now we have those. Let's go ahead and create a update UI function that we will call. So we're going to say private void update UI. And what is this UI going to do? We are going to set those text views equal to our food truck name dot set text, and that is going to be food truck dot get name. And then looks like we got a little indentation issue here. I'm going to say food type dot set text food truck dot get food type. And lastly, we have average cost dot set text, and that's food truck dot get average cost. Food truck dot get average cost. What's going on here? Oh, right. Okay, so here we need to do a little bit of interpolation, or turning our double into a string. So we're going to say dollar sign. We're going to say plus. We're going to say double dot to string, and then we're going to pass this in because food truck dot average cost is actually a double, and we need to work with strings. All right, so we're taking a double and we're turning it into a string. The double that we're turning into a string is the average cost of the food truck. All right, and just to reiterate where we're getting this food truck from, it is being passed from our food truck list activity, which is a result of clicking on one of these food trucks and taking that from our array of food trucks that we pass into our adapter, which then got that specific position and correlated that to that position in the food truck list array. Okay. And so that's how we are getting these values. All right, so let's go ahead and see if that's working so far. And I need to call it, and we'll call that right here in onCreate. So I will say, instead of this print line, we're just going to say update UI. Let's run that. All right, so I'm going to click on our Taco Nirvana, and we have a failure. Let's see what we got going on here. Interesting. Let's see here. Oh, I think I tied it to the wrong ID. What we want is detail food type. There we go. All right, save that, rerun, clicking. Hey, there we go. We are updating Taco Nirvana, Mexican food, $5.99. Joe's barbecue, $9.99. Awesome. Awesome burgers. All right, so next thing up, let's fix this map. All right, so let's go ahead and get out of here. All right, and so here with our map, so they have some stuff set up already for us here in the template. We have our marker, and currently set to Sydney. We don't want it in Sydney. We want it at our food truck location. And so instead of these hard-coded values, we are just going to pass in the values that come with our food truck. So we're going to say food truck dot get latitude, and then food truck dot get longitude, and we add a marker. So new marker options dot position. The position is food truck location, and our title is not going to be marker in Sydney anymore. Let's go ahead and make it the name of the food truck. So we're just going to say food truck dot get name. All right, and then we are going to move the camera to the location, which is food truck location. All right, awesome. And then there's a few other things that I want to do. So we're going to create a little function here called set up map. Okay, hasn't been created yet. Let's do it right down here. So I'm going to say private void, and I'm going to say setup map. Now there's a whole lot of things that you can do with the Google Maps API, and so I'm going to show you a few of those things here. So I'm going to say mmap.set, and you'll see here everything that you can set. You can set content description, indoor enabled, buildings enabled, location, map type, a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to set the map type, and we're going to say Google Map, and it's not the one I wanted, but so you can see here the several different types of maps. You have normal, you have terrain, which shows kind of just the terrain. You have a hybrid, which shows terrain and roads, none, and then you have the satellite views. We're going to just go with normal, and then we're going to do mmap.set traffic enabled. We're going to say true. And we'll make it easier for our people to find our food trucks so that they can avoid traffic. And we're going to say mmap.set indoor enabled. Why not? What that does is if you zoom in really close to places like malls and other large indoor areas, you can see things like specific store names. If you zoom in on a mall, you'll be able to see the Macy's, the Dillard's, everything. All right, and then we're going to say mmap.set buildings enabled. I'm going to say true. And then we're going to say mmap dot get UI settings, and we're going to say dot set zoom controls enabled, and we're going to say true. And this just makes it so that when the map shows up, you have those nice little plus minus buttons that you can use to zoom in and out. All right, and let's go ahead and run that and see how it looks. All right, so I'm going to click on Taco Nirvana, and look at here, we are in China. Looks like we got tacos in China. And I should say that I didn't really look at the latitude and longitude coordinates when I was creating these fake food trucks, so we could be anywhere in the world. And right now we're in China, apparently. All right, so that's pretty cool. But you'll notice that when we load up, we are zoomed way out. Let's see if we can fix that. And we can do that by using a slightly different method right here. So we're going to say new lat long, and you'll see zoom as an option. All right, so we're going to say food truck location, and let's try maybe 10. And I played with this before. That's how I know that that's a pretty good one. And I think we got looks like we got some parentheses issues going on here. One more parenthesis there. Save it and run. Okay, click on. Let's try Joe's Barbecue. Let's see where he's at. All right, so now you can see that we start out at I think a pretty good zoomed in level. All right, so let's see, where are we? All right, Joe's Barbecue here in Alabama. We got our cool little zoom buttons in and out. We can also click here for Google directions even, and that will open right up and help you get to where you need to go. So like I was saying, Google Maps has some pretty cool built-in features all ready for you to use. And yeah, there we have it. We have our detail view built out. We can view each of our food trucks in our list. We have the map all set up. And the next thing to do is get our next activity built out, which is going to be our reviews. All right, so hope you guys are enjoying this, having fun, and we'll see you in the next one.